This is Spo-Ad Cast. Spo-Ad Cast is the official podcast of the St. Thomas University Sports Administration Program.
We are your inside look into the sports industry.
Want to get a job in sports?
Yeah.
Listen to Spo-Ad Cast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the inaugural edition of Spo-Ad Cast, the official podcast of the St. Thomas University Sports Administration Program. I'm executive producer Phil de Montmollin, and I will introduce to you shortly our host for the next few months. I think you're really going to love this new podcast. We're going to give you a glimpse inside the world of sports business, sports law, and mainly from the perspective of graduate students at St. Thomas University Sports Administration, one of the world's renowned sports administration or sports management programs with a tremendous alumni base around the country. Myself, I'm a 1996 graduate of St. Thomas University Sports Administration with a master's degree, and I am blessed to have experienced an amazing career in the world of sports ever since. I've been at it for about 15, 16 years. I've been on the upper levels of college athletics. I've been in NASCAR. I've had the pleasure of working with some of the biggest stars in every major professional sport. I've worked and continue to work with ESPN. And I'm back where I started it all, here at St. Thomas University in Miami Gardens, Florida. Now I'm the sports information director here at the university, so I'm able to get back into college athletics and work with the students, which is very gratifying. But we're gonna really do a lot with this podcast, and not only are we going to talk about issues in the world of sports business and sports law, but we're also going to give you an idea of how to break into the sports industry, which for me was critical when I came here as a student back in the mid-'90s. Getting your proverbial foot in the door is half the battle in the sports business. But before we get too much further, I'd like to introduce to you your hosts for the next few months, two guys you're going to get to know very well on this podcast. First, to my left, a current master's in law joint degree sports administration candidate out of University of Wisconsin, where he did his undergrad, and a Wisconsin native, Trevor Graham.
Thank you, Phil. It's good to be here. I'm excited about this. This has been a long time. Started to get the groundwork building here, but now I'm excited for this. I'm excited to be here with Jason and you as well, Phil, and Carlos, our man behind the scenes. This is going to be fun.
And also our other co-host, Jason Fowler. He's also pursuing a law degree in sports administration as well as a MBA degree in sports administration. St. Thomas not only offers the master's degree, they also offer a bachelor's degree for undergrads, but you can combine the master's with an MBA, with a law degree. You can come out of here fully equipped to take on the sports industry here at St. Thomas University, which, by the way, I'll be plugging these nonstop while I'm here. You get the PR guy for the athletic department up here. You know there's going to be a plug or two. But stu.edu is the website of the university. stubobcats.com is the website for the athletic department. And before I just go off with my shameless plugs much further, I'm going to introduce our other co-hosts, Jason Fowler, who's pursuing that JD MBA in sports administration. He's due to graduate with his MBA in December. He did his undergrad up at Eckerd College in St. Petersburg, Florida, hometown Washington, D.C. Jason, glad to have you with us.
Thank you, Phil. I'm really excited to be here. Really excited to get to connect and bring in news of sports business and sports legal issues that I feel the media has currently not met. This is something new, this is something innovative, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
Cool. Great to have you guys along, and really congratulations to you guys for taking on this new project. I think it's going to be groundbreaking in many on many levels. We're lucky to have this studio here within the Fernandez Family Center at St. Thomas to to house this show. Now, to tell you a little more about St. Thomas University Sports Administration, back in the 70s, there were 3 original sports administration programs. St. Thomas University, which then was called Biscayne College at this very location in Miami, University of Massachusetts in Amherst, Massachusetts, and the University of Ohio, or Ohio University, in Athens, Ohio. Now, these 3 schools for decades were the predominant and basically the only sports management or sports administration programs with any sort of credibility. And when I was a student here in the 1990s and I was looking for graduate schools to study this field, it was pretty much those 3. There were some others popping up, but those 3 stood above all the rest. Today, in 2013, hundreds of schools offer sports management degrees. And the reason I point this out is, one, if you're not familiar with St. Thomas, I wanted to let you know of its longevity and its history in this field. But 2, one of the things that St. Thomas has that sets it apart from the other programs is a tremendous alumni base that spans all industries of sport, is from coast to coast in the United States and also worldwide. If you want a job at a particular organization, chances are there's a St. Thomas University alum who is either currently working there or who knows someone very well who works there or used to work there, and they can get it done. And the first thing I want to get into on this podcast is the alumni that we have at what I believe is becoming the model franchise in the United States, which is the Miami Heat. We actually recording this podcast the morning after the Miami Heat won Game 7, a incredible series against the San Antonio Spurs, as the Heat capture their second straight NBA championship and have now won 3 championships in the last 8 years. This coming from an expansion team that started back in 1988.
It's very exciting. I want to wish congratulations to the Miami Heat, LeBron James, and all the guys. They've done a great job on the court. It's a very big thing to be a part of. It's very exciting to be here as a Washington Bullets and Wizards fan. It's amazing to see a championship. It's been very exciting.
This city certainly has come alive. The Heat have put their fans through quite the roller coaster ride here past couple weeks, and to see it all culminate with another title for LeBron James, it's great. For me, what's great about it, Jason, is we have 11 alumni from St. Thomas who are full-time members of the Miami Heat staff. 4 of them which are executives. And I think that's absolutely phenomenal. I would like to say congratulations specifically to the St. Thomas alumni in winning another championship. But it just goes to show at how great our alumni base is here and where this school can take you.
Absolutely. I mean, I definitely would like to share those same congratulations. I had the pleasure to meet Andy Ellsberg, who is a graduate of St. Thomas, graduated in 1989. He is a senior VP and assistant GM of basketball operations with the Miami Heat. And I know how much effort he puts into his job and how much he loves being a part of the Miami Heat. And he really stresses that the Miami Heat is more than just an organization. It truly is a family organization. I could definitely say that is true, and they really are becoming a model franchise for others to emulate.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was interesting last night. The Heat players, as well as their staff, were quick to praise the Spurs for being a class act organization and for giving them such a great battle. I think, though, that the Miami Heat organization is now on that Spurs level where they deserve the respect of the other 29 NBA franchises, as they're clearly on the brink of something great if they haven't just scratched the surface already with that.
Yeah, and as you guys alluded, I don't know if the layman out there knows exactly Andy Ellisberg's contribution to all this. To tell you a little background about Andy, he's one of 8 original Miami Heat employees who were there in 1988. And Andy started at the Miami Heat when he was 20 years old. He was actually an undergrad here at St. Thomas studying sports administration. He had interned with the then Washington Bullets in the PR department, basically as a grunt, for lack of a better term, handing out stats and writing press releases and game notes and that kind of thing, media guides. And they were starting up the organization here in Miami. And Andy jumped right in as a student at St. Thomas and said, "Hey, I'd like to be a part of this." And they gave him a full-time job in the PR department. He segued from PR to basketball operations. And over time, and to me, it really happened when Pat Riley came on board. Andy became the salary cap guru for the Miami Heat, and I know is respected as, if not the best, one of the best salary cap guys, capologists, as some people call them, in the entire NBA. And when you look at the deals that the Heat have made to construct the championship teams, some of it, you scratch your head. I mean, the NBA has a salary cap, and you're like, how do they make this work? How do they get this star power under the salary cap? Well, they're not breaking rules. I mean, it's a salary cap. But the genius of Andy Ellisberg is the man behind the scenes who crunches all those numbers, who makes it work, who is right there when the team is negotiating with the free agents. And, beginning with LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade coming together, 3 years ago, on through guys like Ray Allen coming for less money from Boston. Andy Ellisberg's been a big, big part of that. And I can't understate his importance to the Miami Heat, not only as a longtime employee, but as someone who has really brought them this championship caliber basketball on the court. He's right there in the thick of it, and he's a true testament of how dreams of working in sports can come true. Even though it may seem very monotonous when you start in the sports industry and you're on the bottom of the totem pole and you're working the long hours and so forth with very little recognition or pay, Andy's an example of, if you work hard and you do the right things and you work your network, how you can make it work. And just want to point out a couple other names on that alumni group. There's 2 vice presidents who are also alums. Brian Babin, he's the VP, who's also the assistant GM for the American Airlines Arena. His boss, Kim Stone, the general manager of the American Airlines Arena, has been an adjunct professor here in the sports administration program. And then Jeff Craney's the VP of the marketing division. And then we've got directors, we've got managers, and pretty much a very, very diverse cross-section of the Miami Heat, from marketing to scouting to security to community relations to broadcasting. And, I see one name on our list here, Jim Cox. Now, Jim Cox teaches the sports public relations class. You guys may have even taken his class. And Jim is the chief of the statistics crew, and he is there on the scores table every single game. He puts that crew together, makes sure the numbers are right. He's been there since day one. He'll be collecting his 3rd ring. And I must say, Jim has brought me into that family too. For the last 10 years, I've done statistician work for the Miami Heat, and lucky to have a ring from last year. And who knows, if they're going to reward me with another one. But it's amazing what St. Thomas University can give you, and the Miami Heat coming off their championships is the perfect example of really the benefits of this program here.
Yeah, actually, I had the pleasure of having Jim Cox as my PR and media professor just last quarter term. And Jim really introduced me to the Miami Heat organization I had the opportunity as part of class to go and get an all-access behind-the-scenes look at what goes on in game day operations for the Miami Heat. And what I learned off of that is that the Heat are truly a world-class organization from top to bottom, and Jim Cox is a beloved member of that staff.
I actually have not had Jim Cox as a professor at the school, but it is amazing of the Miami Heat organization to have guys that start from day one that are there beginning at 1988 and they're still there 25 years later. It just says what kind of an organization the Miami Heat have.
Now, when we put this list together of 11 or so full-time employees at the Miami Heat, I had asked the Heat Human Relations Department if they could help me with some research. They weren't able to pull this off. I don't know if many organizations have this at their fingertips anyway. But I asked them, I said, hey, what school has the highest amount of graduates working for your organization? And I'm going to venture to say that it's St. Thomas University, tiny St. Thomas University, just a couple thousand students on an annual basis here. And I'm going to go out on a limb, that there's more St. Thomas graduates, at least in these important positions, than any other university, and that includes the huge schools we have in the state here. So the Miami Heat, congratulations to all of our alumni there and to the organization at large. They certainly have a culture that Trevor, you were touching on a bit, that is first class all the way. They give back to the community. And we were talking before the show a little bit, as a Miami native, the one thing that's special when the Miami Heat win a championship is that I believe that the Miami Heat is the team that best represents the city of Miami itself. It's truly a team that the whole city, and when I say the city, I'm talking about Miami proper, Dade County, Miami-Dade County, feels like it's their own. All you have to do is watch some of the local news clips from the Miami stations after the championships, and you see the celebrations happening all across Miami-Dade County, all sorts of demographics. And Miami Heat is the one team that has stayed very true to those Miami roots. They started in the old Miami Arena in the Overtown neighborhood, now play in the American Airlines Arena in downtown Miami. While you look at the other pro franchises in town, the Panthers started at the old Miami Arena, headed up to West Broward. The Dolphins played just north of us here at St. Thomas, basically on the county line of Miami-Dade and Broward. They used to be at the Orange Bowl. A lot of old fans, feel like, they left their hardcore Miami roots. And the Marlins were up here at Dolphin Stadium, and in a much talked about deal with the city of Miami and Miami-Dade County, which I'm sure you guys are going to get into in future shows, are now down in Miami. But the Miami Heat, I feel like the 305, Miami-Dade County, truly can call their own. And so that's what makes these championships special. And it's great to not only, be here in Miami when this kind of thing happens, but I'm sure to be a student here as well.
Yeah, it's very exciting. It's very interesting to see, just to be in a city where there's a championship. In college, I was in St. Petersburg and had the ability to be there for when the Tampa Bay Rays actually made their first World Series. And to be in a city where something that exciting is going on in sports is just a great experience. I will say that being in Miami was far superior than being in Tampa Bay for that series. The people here are just very excited, and I would agree the city really has come and supported this team and really represents it. So cool. It's been great.
Well, hey, good stuff, guys. We're going to take a break and then come back with some of the hot issues in the world of sports business and sports law. Again, I'm Phil de Montmollin. To my left is Trevor Graham. To my right is Jason Fowler. And, hey, for the rest of the next couple months, I'm going to hand the reins over to you guys. I'm just going to be a passenger on this bus, if you don't mind. And you are listening to the inaugural edition of Spo-Ad Cast.
Want to get a job in sports?
Yeah.
Listen to Spo-Ad Cast.
Welcome back to the Spo-Ad Cast, the official podcast of the St. Thomas University Sports Administration Program. We're going to transition into our second segment here and share a little bit about what's been at the top of our mind lately as far as sports and the legal world is concerned, namely the Washington Redskins naming situation, and then Jay-Z and Rock Nation and his agency situation. Jason, to start, as a resident, and you call D.C. your hometown, I know this hits pretty close to home to you. Why don't you do us a favor and explain a little bit what is going on with the Redskins naming rights situation?
Sure, Trevor. First off, I have to say hail to the Redskins. I love the Washington Redskins. I'm a fourth-generation Redskins fan, and you'll never meet a bigger fan than myself. Basically, what we're having in the media right now is we're having some issues with the name being derogatory. And at the very beginning, I want to clear the biases out of the room. As a Redskins fan, I do think the name is actually derogatory. I think it is a negative name that objectifies and calls out Native Americans in a disrespectful light. Having said that, I think the legal issues of whether or not this recent case is going to actually be able to attack the name, I think is very slim. I've done some research on the prior case, which was Harjo versus Pro Football. In that case, they had a lot of issues and a lot of issues that were not addressed by the court based on the Constitution. And those issues obviously were not addressed during the court. But the actual dismissal of the case came due to an issue of lashes, which the lashes doctrine is basically an equitable doctrine that says that you are not able to bring a case if you have passed the time period in which you should have brought it. The people in those cases were a little old, and they said that the court said that somebody who was so offended should have brought that case sooner. So that's why the dismissal of the 1992 case did occur. Recently, the Supreme Court denied certiorari to that case, so that case has actually been closed out now. So really what we're talking about is the new case that has been done, which has been introduced into the legal process, and we're looking to see now that the issue of lashes is not going to apply. Now we kind of have to see whether these constitutional issues are going to hold up. I find it's going to be a very difficult case, a very uphill battle for the people claiming it. However, the name, personally, I do believe the name to be derogatory and should be changed, but I'm going to see there's going to be some legal issues there that are going to be very difficult to overcome. So we could have some issues in that respect.
Yeah, I mean, this is clearly a very sensitive issue in a lot of respects. In my limited research, mainly what I've found, Jason, is that monetarily, there's pretty much just no way that the Washington Redskins will change their name. They have so much invested as far as both from the NFL standpoint and then from team ownership, from Snyder's ownership. I know that they're they've branded their team well. I read this morning that they have they're behind the Cowboys and the Patriots only as far as brand value goes. So monetarily, I think that they're going to be hard pressed to pass this issue.
Absolutely.
Yeah, as a PR guy, and I hear what you're saying as far as the uphill battle that we're going to be dealing with here, and I say we because I think the public opinion is one that the name should be changed. It's usually that public opinion can make a difference, and the organization might do the right thing and just do it on their own goodwill. But then when I hear the team owner, Daniel Snyder, take such a hard line stance on this issue, backed up by NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, it seems like almost like a impossible mountain to climb.
I think it's going to be difficult. The NFL really the NFL really loves the historic franchises. They love the Bears. They love the Redskins. They love Green Bay. They love any team that has significant historical, the 49ers we could throw in there as well. They love teams with that history, with that tradition. And the Redskins fall into that category. So there's really a dichotomy of separating the team from the name. And I think that's really what they're struggling with now, that they feel that the name can be the only connection to the history. And I don't think that's necessarily true. I love the Redskins as a team, but I think I can separate the Redskins name and what the team means to me as a person. And I think fans could as well, but the dialogue has to change. It has to be against just not like hating, taking everything away, you know. Looking at a name change could be good, I think. I think it would be difficult, but, you know, hopefully Daniel Snyder and Roger Goodell get on board and do the right thing.
Well, and your very city has had some name changes already. You know, if memory serves correct, the NBA team switched from Washington Bullets to Washington Wizards really because of the sensitivities involved, because of the crime that was going on in inner Washington, D.C., the inner city there, just epidemic levels of gun crimes and that kind of thing. And I don't think a lawsuit was needed to make that change. I think it might have been some political pressure. Certainly the public, I think, agreed. But then again, there wasn't the equity in the Bullets name like there is in the Redskins.
Yeah, the Bullets change is actually still at heart to many fans in D.C. In fact, when we started the podcast, I even said I'm a Washington Bullets and a Wizards fan, and you'll hear that very often. The blogs in D.C. say the same thing. So it is something that strikes, you know, a stake in the heart, to speak. You know, it makes it very difficult. So hopefully the right thing is done. Obviously, the business is not quite the same in basketball as it is for the Redskins. And we very much have that same connection with the Redskins as the Heat does to Miami. It really is our team. So it will be difficult, but I hope the right thing is done.
Well, this is certainly an issue that we will stay on top of. And Jason, I know that you definitely will be on top of. I want to transition here to another topic that's pretty hot right now, and that is Jay-Z and Rock Nation and his new licensability, I guess you would say, for NBA and MLB players, which just came out yesterday. Jason, share your thoughts. To me, this is a very interesting route Jay-Z is taking.
Jay-Z's about to take over the world in sports.
What else is new?
Right? Jay-Z is an unbelievable businessman. He's been that way since he started his empire. He sees the sport's potential in business. There is a lot of money to be made, and he has the brand to support these athletes and really market these guys and do their negotiations as well. The news yesterday was amazing. Actually, I was reading some things a week ago, and he had not yet gotten that. So this is very fresh in the news. He's recently gotten MLB certification, NBA certification, and he currently has NFL certification for contracts, marketing, and the work. So we're looking at Jay-Z taking over the world of sports here. It's going to be something interesting to follow.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool new revelation in Jay-Z's career. I guess I should say that I am a huge fan of Jay-Z and everything he does. So he certainly has my support. But I think one thing that will be interesting that we'll definitely touch on in later podcasts is the world of agency. And I think this really is a game changer in that world.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, hey, thanks, fellas. I'm glad we got this baby off the ground. It's going to be a lot of fun to chronicle sports business, sports law news along the way, and also give people a glimpse in what we do here at St. Thomas Sports Administration. For those who want to give us a little feedback and to stay in touch with us, the best way right now, and we'll have many more channels to come, is on Facebook to like the St. Thomas Sports Administration page. Like us there on Facebook. Let us know what you think of the podcast. And join us again for the next episode of Spo-Ad Cast, the official podcast of the St. Thomas University Sports Administration program. For Jason Fowler, for Trevor Graham, this is Phil de Montmollin. We'll see you next time.
This is Spo-Ad Cast. Spo-Ad Cast is the official podcast of the St. Thomas University Sports Administration program.
We are your inside look into the sports industry.
Want to get a job in sports?
Yeah.
Listen to Spo-Ad Cast.